Hi Stampers, it's Linda Schmitt with Stampin' with the Houndz. Today I have another fun fold to share with you. This one has been kind of popular before the holidays and stuff, and I had made this sample a long time ago just practicing with some retired paper. So these are that Cascading Pleats fun fold, but what I did differently was I used the Designer Series paper as my base instead of using cardstock to help not make it be as thick. So this was like I said, this was the first one I kind of designed using some retired paper, but that's what I do a lot of times. Like when I'm practicing, I just use my old cardstock or old retired papers to practice on. So and this is the portrait way, and the other way is the landscape way, which is what I'm going to show both of you today, how to do both portrait and landscape. So this is another one using some retired cardstock and some dies, and this is again using that Designer Series paper as the base instead of the cardstock. So it's kind of another fun way too of showing off both sides of your pattern paper too. So these are some of the other ones using current items, and we're going to be doing a version of this one today. This is the portrait one, and then we'll do a landscape one as well. So this one features some of our new products that just came out this month with the 2024 Stampin' Up! Mini Catalog, and then also some Sale-a-bration items. This one is going to be that layered florals folder is what I did on this Pebbled Path. Oh, what is this now? It's the, not shimmery paper, but it's, my mind's drawing a blank on it, but it's got this really kind of pretty glimmer to it. And then I actually took a little nail file and kind of buffed it to give it that rustic look. And then this is some of the pattern paper you can get for free. This is that softly stippled Designer Series paper. And then this stamp set is actually in the annual catalog. It's the two-tone floral. And then I also grabbed one of the dies. Oh my gosh, it's a newer set, gorgeously made. So that's what this die is here that I used. And that's in the annual catalog as well. So again, we're going to be doing a version of this one. And then I did some other fun ones using the Sending Love, which is another new item in the catalog. This one has some dies. You can make mailboxes with it, and it has a bunch of hearts, and then it has a coordinating stamp set. So that's a really fun one. I'll be doing some videos on that set as well. And so this one again, it's a portrait one. So super fun. I love how this one turned out. I love seeing both sides of the paper. So there's the portrait. And then these are some of the landscape ones. So this one again is some other Sale-a-bration paper you can get free. This is the Sunny Day Designer Series paper. So this one has rainbows on one side and then the green kind of flowers in it. And this one again uses another new Sale-a-bration item that you can get for free when you spend $100. You can get both the Softly Sophisticated stamp set and the embossing folder. So that's kind of a nice folder with that one. And so this is one. Oh, and then this is another new die from the mini catalog. These are the Everyday Details. So these make that little polka dot, or not polka dot, but the little holes going around, which is kind of fun with it. And then I used that new folder here as well. So this one, and then this is a retired rainbow die, but I thought it was appropriate with the rainbows. And then this is again that Softly Sophisticated stamp set. So it's another kind of fun way, but again, that's that landscape using the Designer Series paper as the base. And then my last sample that I have again features some new paper. And this one is Lighter Than Air, and I'm not normally a pastel person, but I got the paper. I did not get the coordinating stamp set and dies. I was like, I'm just going to do the paper and see what I can do with it. So this one actually, I did like it. Now some of this is some non-Stampin' Up. The dies are, and the saying is non-Stampin' Up. But I did use some retired, my balloon punches and star punches that I had. But I thought it turned out kind of cute. So, but it has, you know, again, I kind of use that Designer Series paper as my focal point instead of using like stamps or anything. So that's another landscape one. So super fun using that Fresh Freesia as the base, and then Balmy Blue, and then this is that bubble bath pink. What it is? Bubble, what is it? I think it is bubble bath. I think it's just bubble bath. Yeah, bubble bath. I was like, well, no, actually, this is bubble bath, the cardstock. Sorry, I take that back. I don't use pink very often. All right, so like I said, we are going to do a version of this one and also a landscape one. So I'm going to start with this portrait one first. So the supplies that you are going to need will be, now you can either do this with the designer series paper or the cardstock. So I'm showing you with the designer series paper. So if you want to do the paper, you want to pick your paper and cut it so that your pattern, because this is going to be portrait, you want to make sure your pattern is going the right way. So the pattern paper or the cardstock is going to be 8 1/4 by 5 1/2. So that's going to be 8 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then we're going to score on the long side at 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when you go to score, you know, depending on your paper trimmer or your Simply Score tool, where the ruler is, it's going to make a difference. So you want to make sure your scores are going to be, your score lines are on this left-hand side, and that when you cascade the card in, your pattern paper is going the right way, if that makes sense. I'll explain it when we start scoring it and stuff. But so 8 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then your pieces for the panels are going to be for the front. And again, I doubled up. So I've got my cardstock, and then I have my specialty paper that I've already embossed with that embossing folder, but you can do designer series paper. So for the cardstock, because we're going portrait, this is going to be 3 by 4. And then the designer series paper or the specialty paper will be 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So that's your front panel. The middle panel is going to be, for the cardstock, is going to be 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And then the designer series paper, so this is that softly stippled, which you can get free. So I really like that back. It's kind of a fun neutral. That is going to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So that's the middle. And then the back panel, so like on this one, I stamped directly on here. You can also do another thing of, because I have designer series paper as my back, I needed cardstock to make this sturdy enough. So the cardstock is just your standard 4 by 5 1/4. And then if you want, what I'm going to do on this one, I'm adding another layer, and I measured this so that this piece won't show when you close it. Okay? So if you want, when you're stamping, you want to pay attention, if you don't want stuff showing, that you make sure that whatever this middle panel is, you don't stamp beyond that edge on it when you do that. So just a little tip there. So I've got this, so I know that what I stamp on this is going to be hidden behind that middle panel. So this is just a piece of white cardstock. It's 2 5/8 by 4 1/8 is what I did on there. And that's just going to be attached onto my back panel. And I may emboss that. I might have to see. We'll see. We'll see what I'm thinking. All right, so we're going to do the scoring first. And then whatever you want for your embellishment. So I've already kind of pre-stamped a bunch and die cut some things just to save on time. So we are going to take, like I said, it all depends on what you're using for a paper cutter or paper trimmer. But again, this is going to be that 8 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're going to score on the long side at 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, as I said, you want, oh gosh, I'm dropping things. When you go to score, you want it over here. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, which way is this? Is this front? This paper is kind of hard to see sometimes. I don't know if there's really a top or bottom on this one. I don't think so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to flip this, right? No, I'm going to keep it face up, because it doesn't really matter which way it's going. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to score at 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then what I do is I rotate it, and then this is what's coming into fold. So if you had a pattern paper that had a top or bottom, you want to make sure that however you're scoring this, that these score lines are on the left when you go to make and fold it in on there. Okay, so we're just going to fold this in. Let's see, yes, because I want my flowers on the inside. So we're going to score or fold on our score lines, and then you're going to go back one. So it's kind of like that fan fold that I did on one of my other previous videos. It's the same concept. So you're just going back and forth, kind of making that fan or accordion fold. Okay, so now there is your side. So this is going to be the front of your card, and it opens like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this, and you want to make a tick mark at, let's see here. Oh, I was going to show you this because this will be a little bit explainer. Sorry. So as I was saying, so this is our cardstock. We've got our score lines. What I'm doing is I'm rotating it now, and I'm making a mark at 3/4 of an inch and then 1.5 inch. So those are my tick marks. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take from that 3/4 inch mark, you're going to cut down to the 3rd score line. And then we're going to cut this freehand at an angle. Then this one, which is at 1.5, we're going to cut down to the 1 inch score line, and then we'll freehand cut this part off. So that's this is the template that I kind of used with it and stuff. So I'll let you kind of take a glance at that on it. So what I'm doing now is I'm making that 3/4 of an inch mark and my 1.5 inch mark. And I'm just going to take my stylus, and I'm just making a little mark here that I can kind of see instead of using a pencil. Okay, so now I'm going to take this 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to place that over into my paper trimmer where it's going to cut. So it's in the cutting groove. And I'm only going to cut down to that 3rd. So there's 1, 2. I'm going to cut down to this 3rd score line. So that's kind of what I'm doing this part right now. So make sure I'm at the 3/4. And then depending on your paper trimmer, usually you've got a little notch here that you can tell where your blade is. So as long as that line matches up to your score line, you're good. So here's my 1, here's my 2, and here is my 3 inch mark. Okay. Then I just freehand cut this with scissors. I was doing the paper trimmer, but then it wasn't always working. So I just found this part was just a little bit easier if you just freehand it. All right, and that gets discarded. So now there's our first little angle. Now we're going to do the same thing. This was at 1.5 inch mark. Now we're going to cut down to the 1 inch score line. So I'm going to line up my little tick mark in my cutting part of my paper trimmer. So it's right in that track. And I'm only going to cut down to the 1 inch score line. And then I'm going to freehand cut this at an angle. So now when you go to fold it, you've got that little cascade kind of diagonal lines on it. And sometimes if you didn't, I may need to trim a little bit of this off. I think I might do that right now. You may need to make some minor adjustments with your scissors if it's a little too long. There we go. And that part's out. Okay, perfect. All right. So that was the portrait. So that's the cutting and the scoring to make basically the base of the Cascading Pleats. All right, so now we are going to add our panels. So I'm going to do my front panel first because this one, I know I'm not stamping on it or anything. I'm just going to be adhering it. So this is just going to be attached to that front panel. And again, this was the 3x4 for the cardstock, and then 2 3/4 and by 3 3/4 for either your pattern paper or this luster in color paper. That's the Pebbled Path, which is really pretty. And like I said, I already ran this through the embossing folder, the Layered Florals, which is one of the new embossing folders in the mini catalog, the 2024 mini catalog. Okay, so there's that. Then this is only going to be attached to this edge. So all you need to do is just put, and this is where I think I may need to trim. See how I'm a little bit longer here? I'm going to trim this just a titch because I must not have gone down far enough, because I really don't want to see that edge. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to put a strong adhesive. I like to use tear and tape. And this is only going to go on this first 1-inch section. Yeah, I had this video. I was all ready to go and record last weekend, but I over the holidays, I got roped back into volunteering for my Greyhound group, where we get the retired racing greyhounds off of the tracks and then into their forever homes. And so I'm actually I'm a little matchmaker. I match the people, the families to the greyhounds. So yeah, they needed some help, and so I kind of got roped back into it, and so that's been taking up a lot of my time on it. So all right, so there's the first panel, and then my middle panel. This one is going to be that 3.5 by 4 3/4 is the cardstock. And then the designer series paper was 3 1/4 by 4.5. So I'm just going to layer this. Yeah, we have 3 greyhounds coming in this afternoon. One of our people, we get, these actually dogs are coming from Kansas. A lot of our greyhounds now we get either from Australia or Ireland because so many of the tracks have closed over the years and stuff. So, but they're great. They're awesome dogs. I Stampin' with the Houndz. I've had greyhounds ever since 2000. I think, yeah, 2000. So they're awesome dogs. Okay, so now this next panel, this is the middle one. Again, we're going to put adhesive on this one. And then we'll line this up, so kind of butting it up. Make sure it's on the edge. And then I line it up so it's kind of like right in that score line, but you still have some movement here so that it doesn't impede on your folds there. So then there's 1, there's 2. And now see how this is kind of flimsy? We need that back panel. And so I think I do want to, I think I will. I'm going to emboss this really quick, or not emboss, but I'm going to use my folder, my embossing folder. So I'm going to run this through real quick off screen. And then that way it'll kind of tie in with that. So this is that pebbled path. And there are, I'm so glad, I just love this folder, but I'm going to be doing a bunch of embossing folder techniques coming up. So stay tuned for that. I've got all these ideas in my head, and I have to take the time and design the cards. All right, and I think for this, I do want to use my liquid glue to attach this. Yeah, it's such a pretty folder. Oh, I just love it. So much texture and dimension. Love it, love it, love it. All right, we're going to put this into that back panel. So it's just getting that little border of the designer series paper that you can see. And that's it. That's the fold. I mean, it's super easy. And like I said, you can do cardstock instead of the designer series paper. But I just thought, you know, I'm always like trying to use up my designer series paper. So if I can do a fun fold that uses up that paper, I'm all for it. All right, so let's decorate this now. So I already had die cut. I got to do my saying. I got a stamp on there. Let's see. I had some things already cut and die cut. So I think this was going to be on my front of my card. Let's see, because I was going to have that be in here. Maybe do a little this. It's all like, oh, what did I do? Happy birthday. Let's see. I think. And then on this gorgeously made, so you can either keep these in. I'm actually just going to pop these out this time because some of them are falling out. So I'm just going to take them out. On my sample, my first one, I kept them in, but I'm gonna pop them out this time. Okay, so we're gonna do this on the front. I'll do it this way. Have my folder. I've got happy birthday. And this. That's gonna go on the inside, I think. I always like to kind of lay it out first, figure out what I'm doing. I think that'll go in there. Okay, so we're going to lay this down first. So let's put liquid glue on the back of this one. And whenever I'm using the liquid glue, I do like to use my little craft sheet silicone mat, just so that it doesn't get my glass mat all gunky with adhesive. And so the Stampin' Up! Glass mat, this is an item that if you sign up as a demonstrator during January and February, so Sale-a-bration, you can select this glass mat as one of your free items, and it's a $60 value. So really, I love it. It's my other glass mat I had wasn't a Stampin' Up! One, but it was a lot smaller. So it's nice to have a bigger surface area with it. And I may need to put a block on there to keep this because it's on that textured paper. So sometimes I just take a block and then just apply some pressure just to make sure it stays glued down. Okay. And then we need some dimensionals. Get those out. All right, so this one, let's see here. We're going to tuck this in. This is going to be dimensionals. Yeah, I was trying to remember. Like I said, I designed this card like over a week ago. Now I'm trying to remember, like, how was I going to do it? Okay, I think we'll just put this here. And then that'll get tucked in. Here, we'll just do a little glue. This one I will, that one I'm going to pop up a little bit. So let's see here. Yep. So put dimensionals on the back of this one. And then I'm wondering if I do that down here. So, and then this one will get tucked under. Yeah, and the colors I used on the flowers for my first one, I did Calypso Coral, and then the in color Copper Clay. So I never would have, I mean, I would have put those two together, but for a flower, I guess I wouldn't have. So I like how it turned out. And then this one was Petal Pink and Calypso Coral, the smaller one. Okay, we'll just kind of tuck that under. So there's that one. And then my middle one, I just have a little, this is that Everyday Details die that I just die cut out. So see how it does those little dots going all the way around. And so this was just the back side of the paper that I want to show. So again, I'm going to showcasing both sides of the Designer Series paper in this card. So again, on this middle panel, make sure that whatever you place here, it doesn't go beyond this front panel. So I'm just gonna position that. And then here, I think I've got this little card. I think I may just do the one. Or maybe I'll do the two. I think I like this one. Okay, we're just gonna plop it down. And you could do a saying here if you wanted. Let's see. Actually, I think I will add this one too. So there's my middle panel. Now this was going to be where I put my saying. So again, when I go to adhere it, I always want to make sure that it doesn't show from the front. So on this one, I am going to do a little bit of stamping. And so this one again was at 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. And let's do our saying. And this is from Textured Floral, the saying. It's birthday blooms for you. So I'm just gonna, and I'm just stamping it in Pebbled Path. And again, I've got my little foam mat underneath here because this is that photopolymer. And so you always want a little bit of cushion when you're stamping with photopolymer. And then I am going to show you kind of like how I did these flowers. So, because with this textured, oh, I got ink on there. Oh, I hate it when I do that. All right, let me grab my little, here it is. Yeah, when you get those, sometimes those bigger blocks and I don't pay attention and I get a little bit of ink on there. So I just have this little sand eraser that I picked up at a art store. And for the most part, it just kind of sands away the paper and kind of removes that ink. And then this is just an adhesive remover. It just kind of smooths it out. There we go. Or this is where you decide to stamp some flowers going around, which I may end up doing. Okay. So to do the flowers, I'm going to show you how I quick do these. So with the two-tone Flora, this is a 2-step stamping. I like to do the outline image first and then the solid. And then what I'm doing is I'm lining up these little center parts of the flower when I go to layer it on top. So for each one of these, that's what I use as a focal point for layering. So it's going to be these two, these two, these two, and these two. So I'm going to do, I think on this one, I'm going to work on, I'm going to do these two. So like I said, I'm going to do the outline image first, and I'm going to do that in the darkest color. So I'm doing copper clay, and I'm just going to stamp this right down here. Then the solid image I'm going to do in the Calypso Coral. My Calypso Coral, it's the old style of the cloth ink pads. This is the color, I don't use it very often, and so when they came out with the new stamp designs, or stamp pad designs several years ago, I was like, ugh, do I really want to buy another Calypso Coral? But I've been using it more now, so I'm like, oh, maybe I should break down and get a new one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up that, I don't know if you can see it, this little center part is going to line up right here. So I just make sure that is lined up. And then there you've got your layered image. So, oops. And then I'm going to do a little bit of the wild wheat, which, it's a color that, it's a in color, but it was one that I was like, I'm never going to use this. And I use it all the time now, which is, it's so funny. All right, I'm going to do this in the leaves. So it's kind of like a golden color. It's got a little bit of green undertone to it. So it does kind of work for doing your leaves on your flowers. So I kind of stamped off. And I'll just wipe this off. And now we've got our little layered piece for the inside. So we'll go ahead and, where's my tape? There it is. Oh, I lost my, here it is. Put this on the inside. Oh, I must have had ink on there. Oh boy. Well, normally I would put this in, but I binged it up pretty bad. So I'm going to restamp this. But again, I would adhere this right in the center and then making sure it closed so that you don't see it. But I'm going to redo that piece because I was a goofball and I got ink on it. So, all right. So now we're going to do the landscape one. And so on the landscape, again, it's the same concept, but now our base of our card is going to be 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. We're still going to score at 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the left-hand side. And then we'll still measure over 3/4 of an inch, cut down to the 3rd score line, and then measure over 1 1/2 and only cut down to the 1. And then you'll cut those at an angle. So it's still the same concept. It's just now the base of the card is a different dimension. So like I said, and then all of your panels then kind of flip a little bit. And these panels, you can make these whatever size you really want for like the length, but you still want to make sure that they're always going to be the same height as these pleats that you're adhering the panels to, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to take our cardstock, which was the 4 1/4 by 9 1/2, and again, we're going to score 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the left. And so since this is cardstock, you know, it really doesn't matter. So on this paper trimmer, I'm saying on the left because I'm thinking of like the Simply Scored tool. Your 1 is over here, but on this one, it's over here. So all I'll do is I'll flip it over. So, but I'm still scoring at 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to turn it around because I want these score lines on my left-hand side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do those same folds. We're going to bring that 4th one. We're just going to fold this so we're making our card. Now with the cardstock, again, this is going to be a little bit thicker as our base. So I did the cardstock as my base versus designer series paper for this one, just to kind of show you the difference in the thickness. Okay, so we have our pleats, our little accordion. So that same thing, we are going to rotate this. We're going to make a mark at 3/4 of an inch and at 1 1/2. And then we're going to cut. So this is going to go in my cutting groove. We're going to cut down to the 3rd score line. Make sure I'm right in the middle there. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then I just freehand cut at an angle. I might have to trim that. Oh, it was me. Didn't quite angle it. There we go. All right. And then this other one that was the 1 1/2 inch mark, we're going to put that in the cutting groove. And then we are going to cut only to the 1st score line. And then again, we will cut this at an angle. All right, so then there's your cascading pleats with the landscape. All right, so now for our panels, my back panel, this time instead of doing cardstock, I am doing the Designer Series paper. So this is that softly stippled Sale-a-bration that you can get this for free. So this is just your standard 4x5 1/4. So that's just going to go right on the back. And I got this, normally this is a little too, I don't know, country old lady, I don't know, paper design, but because it had a lot of these in color colors in it, and it had the wild wheat, I did get it. And you know, now actually it's growing on me. Like this is kind of a cool pattern because it's like that, what do you want to call it? I can't even think of it, but it's kind of a cool pattern. All right, so there's that was the back panel. So that was 4x5 1/4. And again, I did Designer Series paper for that one. My middle panel, I'm going to do cardstock. So now remember, this is landscape. So it's going to be 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. Then my Designer Series paper is 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. And again, this is that, so this is another sheet of that paper. So there's one with the flowers, and then there's the wild wheat kind of brush stroke color on there. So this is the middle panel. And then this color, it's boho blue, which is another in color. And I do like this color, but I haven't used much of it. So I was like, oh, I got to start using some of these colors that aren't my go-to ones all the time. All right, so this is just going to get layered onto here. And then that's going to be our middle panel. So when you go put your panels on, you always want to make sure you're flush at the bottom and you're flush at the top on that section. So we're going to go ahead and put our adhesive, which I don't know where my, oh, it's right here. Tear and tape went. So again, it's going to be, you're going to put tape on the first panel and the third one, and you're looking at it. I just make sure we're flush at the bottom and at the top. It's not impeding when I go to fold it in. So I don't press it down super hard until I have it in place. All right, so then that's good. That is my middle panel. And then my front panel, so this one, again, because it's landscape, it's going to be 4 by 2 3/4. And then I did the specialty paper again with that same layered florals with the embossing folder, and this is on that boho blue luster specialty paper. So this one is 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. So we're just going to layer this onto the pebbled path. So these are all in colors that I'm using on this. I really love pebbled path. It's like a great neutral color. In this folder, it's nice because there's not really a top or bottom. The flowers kind of like go every which way, so it doesn't really matter which way it goes. All right, so now again, we're going to put adhesive, the tear and tape, on that first section. this is going to be then lined up. And I may need to trim this just a titch. So let me do that right now. I'm just barely taking a little bit off. Okay, let's try that again. That's lined up, that's lined up. Perfect. All right, so there is that one. So definitely a little bit thicker compared to the Designer Series paper, but it'll still, you know, this will still mail fine. If you get really, really crazy with your embellishments and stuff, you may have to do like the extra postage. But so again, I'm using that two-tone floral. I've got a bunch of pieces already stamped and die cut out. And then, let's see. Now I'm trying to remember, what do I got here? Oh, and then this one is going to be for that back panel. So this one is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And this again is for my greeting. So again, when you go to stamp, you just want to make sure that you adhere it so that you can't see it when the card is closed. So for that one, I think I will probably use that same Birthday Blooms. Always need birthday cards. And on this one, I think I will use the Boho Blue. Let's do, or do I want to do it? Yeah, I'm going to do it in Boho Blue. See if I can be better at my stamping. Make sure there's no ink on my block. Oh, I just hate it when I do that. Okay. And then this one, I have a bunch of pieces die cut, so I think I'll just do a... Let me just do this. So this is from the new, this is in the mini catalog too. This is Delicate Forest. So it has these great like little boards. So this is that border die. This is this one here. And then it has the nice archway frame and then another one. So I'm going to be doing some more cards with this one too in the coming month or whatever. So on here, I'm just going to adhere this and then I'll trim off the little end because it's just a tad longer than my card. Actually, I'm going to use my, here it is. So again, this is that Wild Wheat. I'm going to make you guys love this color. I actually ordered another pack of the paper because I was using it so much. So for a color that I was like, what would I do with this? Yeah, I use it all the time. So there you go. All right. So let's put this, line this up on the edge. Oops. And then we'll just trim off this little piece. And then, like I said, this is going to go then on the back panel. So again, I just make sure that when I go to put this in, you're not going to see it from the front when I close it. So all good. And then I may just put a little flower. Let's see, do I have... Now, the front part's always just the decorating. Yeah, I may just put a little, just to give it a little bit more color back here. And tying in that blue. So yeah, we'll just do a little of that. And we'll do one of these little ones. All right, so that's the back panel. Oh, and I've got a little too high. Oh, shoot. See? Got to pay attention. All right, let's bring this down. So I can't use that one. Is it going to let me? There we go. Just come down. Nope, I still got to come down. This one, yeah, we'll just leave it. All right, so I can only do the one, it looks like. I think I will tuck that in there. So always check your panels to make sure you're not poking through. There we go. Okay, then our middle panel. So I'm going to keep the same, kind of tying in this kind of canvas look. I think that one is, I know it's going to go on the front. I think on this one I may just do... We'll just do that. Okay. So making sure I'm going to put this down just a little bit. Okay. And then if I put this in here, go this way. And I think on here, I'm going to put my happy birthday. I'm going to put this saying, because I don't think I'm going to put, I'm not going to have a greeting on the front, so I'm going to put this in. So this is going to go here. And then I will do my greeting. I'm going to do that in the pebbled path. And this little happy birthday, it's out of the very best occasion. So it's, I thought it was in this one. Oh, maybe not. Where did I get this one from? Oh yeah, no, there it is. I'm like, oh, where's the stamp set from? All right, so let's put this just right on, like so. And then we can put our flower on. So this one for your colors, I did the boho blue as the solid, and then Misty Moonlight as my darker, the outline. I'm wondering if I think I will add this other little one in here since it had kind of some glue on it already. We'll just tuck it behind. I think, yep, I can still, all good. All right, and then the front. So I have this gorgeously made, I got that leaf again. And then this flower, I did do Lost Lagoon and Misty Moonlight for something different for my layering. And then these are the boho blue and the Misty Moonlight. So on this one, I think we'll do something. Something like that, I think. Well, I know that's going to go on there, so I'm just going to glue this down because this needs to, this takes a little bit for it to stick. And it's just because it's on that textured cardstock that's been embossed with the folder. And again, this is that wild wheat from the Gorgeously Made die. A little heavy-handed there. Put this block on here just to hold it. Put a little pressure on it just to make sure it's staying glued down. All right, now we can go ahead and do our flowers. And I probably will need some dimensionals, I'm thinking. Pop up these little ones. I put that one there. Oh, just glue it down, Linda. You know, sometimes I putz around on my layouts. one more little leaf here. I know, decisions. Oh my gosh. So sorry. All right, we're just gonna just be done with it. Okay. Oh my gosh, so sorry. Okay, that is, oh, you know what? I do want to add, or no, it's probably gonna be, let's see, some of these are some of the newer gems. So these are online only, and I think right now they are out of stock, but it's got, I know I don't do birds, but look at me, I've got birds, but I wanted the dragonflies with it. And then these are some of the other, so like this one coordinates with this paper, the lighter than air, so it's kind of some fun pastel little gems. And then these kind of go with that perennial lavender. They're little sparkle gems, which are new. And then these I just love, it's that petal pink, and then the pretty peacock, and it's got a little bit of gold gems. So these are really fun. These are the oh yeah, pretty peacock foiled gems. So that's in the man. And then these are additional ones that you can get for free. These are some of the Sale-a-bration ones too. So I think I will add maybe just a couple of these on here just to show you. So we've got, and I always like them when they have gems that are like in a variety of sizes, because it makes it, I think, a little bit easier when you do your odd number pieces. So I think on here I am going to do kind of this pool party, because there is a pool party color in here. So we'll just do, let's do one here, and we'll do a little one off to the side. And then I think I'll do another larger one down here. And then on my first card, I did want to add some of these too. So we'll do the, because this kind of coordinates with it. Oops. Oh, that's not where I wanted it. And that one, I think I'll just do the two. All right, so that is it. That is the cascading pleats, or kind of like your cascading accordion, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some more tutorials using kind of this embossing folder, some moving away from the fun folds and doing some more technique videos. But again, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. I appreciate you, and have a great and creative day. Bye-bye.